Hello, everybody. My name is Roger, and this is a Let's Play series of Eternal. I played Magic for a number of years, and now I am very much on the Eternal train. Currently, this season, I'm ranked 85 Masters. You'll notice that all of my decks are named after Magic colors. That's just how I know them the best off the top of my head. I should probably get around to renaming them now that I'll be actually on the Eternal train, but old habits die hard for now, I guess. So this is my Combrei or Celestia mid-range deck. The goal of this deck is to just play pound for pound better overall cards than your opponent. It's a bold strategy. So you do that by first and foremost just being faster and having very consistent mana. So I played 3 color versions of this deck. I wound up going back to 2 because it allows you to play Initiate of the Sands on 1, and Initiate of the Sands is a great play as long as it doesn't get Fire Blasted, or as I like to call, bolted on turn 1. The 1 mana deal 3 damage to a creature. Or suffocated. But it allows you playing turn 3 drop, playing 3 drops on turn 2 and 4 drops on turn 3 and 5 drops on turn 4. It's very good value, and we have 2 that are foil. Desert Marshal is a card that I think is extremely medium. I would give it a strong C overall. It's no Flash Tiger. The 2/3 Flash I much prefer, but that's just because decks like this, really want to be playing defense in the early game, and Desert Marshal doesn't play defense well at all, obviously, with 1 toughness. The silence is really good, it's powerful, and this deck definitely has plenty of silence effects overall, and it's just not the perfect card for what this deck wants to be doing. But obviously, I'm still playing 3 of it, and it definitely is a very solid role player. Talar's Favored is a 0/2, just gotta hit your land drops. You need to be hitting your land drops. Temple Scribe is a card that I was really low on this deck at first, but it's definitely, I had 2 in it, and I was playing the 2/2 Empower. It gets +1/+1 for a long time. Let's see if I can find it. This gentleman, Awakened Student. I was playing Awakened Students in a spot for a good while, but I found that, once again, just need to be hitting your land drops. Awakened Student dies to literal almost anything. Well, I guess, it only dodges the 2 mana destroy target monocolored creature. Is basically the only ubiquitous spell that it dodges, but still dying to bolt is just a huge loss for the card, in my opinion. And Temple Scribe just is good value, gains you life against the aggro deck, draws you a card cycles, and it still becomes a card in its own right once you have your Obelisk active anyways. After that we have Vanquish. Just sometimes you have to interact with your opponent, unfortunately. You just gotta kill their really big things. They can be spots, especially against the red-green weapons deck, where their guys just get too big, too fast, and you just gotta vanquish them. Gotta get rid of them. Amber Acolyte, always be drawing mana. Gotta get it. Fixes your mana, gets you mana, helps you hit your land drops. The 2/1 bounty is not ideal, once again, because you want to be blocking more so in the early game with this deck, but trading with this card is still fine because you're still getting advantage out of the cards you drew. It's not a situation where Talar's Favor, where you're just throwing the card away itself and turning it into a land. If you're actively getting a card out of your opponent, it puts you up in card advantage, which is very, very nice. Combrei Healer, it's a must be a 4 of, as underwhelming as it can be in some matchups, for the help that it provides you in aggro matchups. Playing it at turn 2 against black-red aggro is huge. It's basically a 2/5 by itself and gains you 3 life. There have been a lot of games I've won while being at 3 life, and just the gaining 3 life is phenomenal. Dune Phantom is a pet card of mine. I think this card is not amazing, but I like it as a 1 of. It blocks everything. Once again, it helps you out with the early game aggro. And at the same time, being a 0/6 flash is great. because your opponent's weapons, when they attack, if you flash this in when they're attacking you with a weapon, they have to hit the Doom Phantom, and so he can kind of play a role filler as a hero that just saves one of your other gentlemen. And speaking of other gentlemen, this card, it might be actually be a woman, is fantastic. 3/4, huge body for 3 mana, overwhelm for 3 mana, 3/4. Even if those were all the stats it gave you, it would still be a 4 of in the deck. But the fact that it gives you a late game engine and being able to provide 8 mana, get a doubled random green or white unit in the late game is phenomenal. It's what makes your control matchups not be a complete underdog, and it just blocks everything in the early game. It's phenomenal. Can't say enough good things about that card. Stand Together, I started out with 2 of this card, then I went to 3 of this card, and now I'm on 4 of this card. This card is great because it protects your big guys when you want to go tall, and when you want to go wide, something like a harsh rule, a board wipe, can just completely knock this deck on its ass. So the fact that Aegis stops those kinds of effects is huge. And as well as pumping your team, it leads to huge blowouts for the deck, and most people don't really know how to play around the card. I don't know if it's that widely played, but I very much love this card. Valkyrie Enforcer is another card that's just insane value per the amount of mana you're getting out of it. Going from 2 white from a Temple Scribe into 2 green on a Valkyrie Enforcer is a little rough on the mana sometimes, but I find that you don't often want to be playing Valkyrie Enforcer on turn 3 anyway, so it's fine as a 4 or 5 or even 6 drop later on in the game when you want to be silencing your opponent's bigger threats and then getting in with it. But still, 3 mana, 3/3 flyer silence is just it's a phenomenal rate. Displacer helps you put you ahead on tempo when you just want to start jamming with your guys. It also, once again, helps with your opponent's weapons, with being able to knock those off. As well as, it's fairly common for like later in the game, if you just have a random Temple Scribe laying in the game or laying around, just put it back in your hand, draw a card, gain a life. It's a little mana ineffective, but you got to do what you got to do to get that card advantage in late game. Sandstorm Titan, obviously one of the best cards in the game. 4 mana, 5/6 endurance, and stops all flyers. I'm sure anyone who knows anything about Eternal knows that this card is bananas. Xenon Obelisk, once again another card that it's just a centerpiece of the deck. It turns all of your mana dorks into huge threats. It turns basically any card you have into a must answer threat in the late game, especially when you start getting 2 or even 3 of these up. Giving all your units +4/+4 is just absurd. And then it obviously makes your big guys even bigger and ends the game very quickly. Lumen Defender, once again, I really don't like losing to aggro decks. I don't know if you get this sense, but I just hate it. He's gaining 5 life, 1/5 defender. It's not a huge, not 1/5 deadly. It's not a phenomenal card, but for the role that I need to play in the deck, it serves it nicely. And then bringing up the rear is 2 Martial Iron Thorns. I never play him on turn 5. My favorite spot to play him is either on turn 6 or 7, and then playing a Sigil right after it to ramp you right up to 8, obviously for your Obelisk or for your Seraph. So it's just a good body, and it allows me to get more out of my mana than I normally would. I only play 1 Amber Monument in my mana. That could be wrong. I might go up to 2. It's just a good way to deal with flooding, but you do really want your mana to be untapped in the early games, and obviously it will be depleted in the early game. But that's the deck, 75. It's treating me well so far this season. So after this video, let's play some games with it. Alright, thanks for watching.